Good evening and welcome to the City of Charlestown Redevelopment Commission for January 7th, 2025. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone please rise. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do our roll call vote. Anita Pate.
Here.
Bobby Brooks.
Here.
Chuck Deaton.
Here.
John Spencer is absent, and Derek Holmes is also present. We do have a quorum. Next up, we're going to do our nomination for election of officers for 2025. Open it up to nominations for president. We have a nomination.
I nominate Derek Holmes.
I will second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll open up to nomination for vice president. Do we have a nomination for vice president?
I'll nominate Bobby.
A second.
We have a first and a second for vice president, Bobby Brooks. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Not secretary.
Hmm?
So that was Benita and Chuck. Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's all right, okay.
Open it up for nomination for secretary.
Nominate Ms. Benita. I second.
We have a first and a second for nomination, Benita Pate for secretary. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, congratulations. Moving on to the approval of the minutes. Everyone has provided a copy of the minutes for December 3rd, 2024. I ask for a motion to approve.
Before that, there's, Benita had pointed out a typo in the minutes. And so on section, under claims, it should say in the second sentence, should say Ms. Pate, it says Mr. Pate.
Okay.
So I made that correction, but that was not in what you, the mistake was in what you received. So I made the correction since.
All right. All right. Including the corrections that Jill has made, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the correction.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Is there any further discussion? Let's go vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to the claims for the previous month. Everyone's provided a copy of the claims. Ask for a motion to approve.
Before you do that too, I sent out that last email, and I apologize, I sent several emails before this meeting, but the last one included the 2 Frost Brown Tide invoices that didn't make it in time for the claims docket, and that total is $4,020. If you would agree to add that to the docket, that would be great. If not, we can wait till the next meeting.
I'll make a motion with the addition of 4,020 added to the docket.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ask for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next up, we're up for a presentation for the Charlestown Street Visioning Project.
And Amy Williams with Taylor Seeker Williams Design Group is here to do that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you guys so much for having me. For those who I've maybe not met, Amy Williams with Taylor Seeker Williams Design Group. We're excited to be working with the city and especially the mayor, a few of the redevelopment folks, and Jill to help to define a little bit better of a vision for the square. Short Street, that kind of area right there. So I believe Jill did include the PDF of the kind of final booklet, I'll call that, right, just to kind of summarize all of those designs that we went through. And I've got a kind of a little bit of a quick summary here as we go through. So it was a process over the last couple of months where we got together once, got the ideas programmatically, elements that folks might want to see within that here at City Hall over a couple of hours, kind of shredded that out a little bit, and came back with 2 different concepts. Again, they were meant to be definitely different, so you can find the love and the hate maybe out of each one, right, to come up with that preferred. So we came up with a variety of different options there, or 2 different options, a variety of different elements within each of those options, and went through that again at another meeting to kind of work through the good, bad, and ugly, right? That sort of thing, the preferences and the things maybe people wouldn't prefer within that. And really that came together to get a preferred concept. So that concept A, a couple highlights from that was the orientation of that performance pavilion at the top. We're going to go through the site elements here just in a minute, but it was really kind of skewed and not necessarily aligned with the road, trying to block as much noise from the road out. And it had minimal street improvements. You can see kind of that red area on concept B that's, again, going to like paver concept, even maybe a curbless street. Again, different level of aesthetics, different level of cost as well. They both included some private infill development. One included more renovation of the gazebo, one maybe more restored the gazebo. So we talked through a lot of those different elements, and it came into, if you go to the next one for me, preferred concept. And we're going to kind of run through these in detail. I'll zoom in here as we go through this. But if you go through the next one, we divided it into 3 different sections. This was so we could talk about it a little easier and zoom in, but also there are areas where you would likely want to look at phasing. So you can do a phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 from a budgetary standpoint. You could even do sub-phases within that. So we called the commons, that's the area where the building is located, it's getting demolished right here. The next one is the square, so that's kind of the sidewalks and the square itself. And then the final one is the terrace, so that's kind of the hillside along Market and along Water, because it's still something to kind of, again, a site element we need to deal with here. So we're going to kind of zoom into each one of these, that commons area. The items and elements within this, we included and looked at a performance pavilion. That's the number 1. The number 2 is a storage area behind it. It also could be your brain and hub for Christmas in Charlestown. So you have a place to store all that IT stuff, it's secure, it's watertight and all of that. Plus storage for all of our needs of storage, we always can use that. And the idea this would be some sort of signature pavilion here from an aesthetic standpoint. It's oriented kind of with the site, parallel with the site there, so to maximize that lawn, and you could spill into the square there too, especially with like vendors and that sort of thing. The number 3 kind of goes along the edge because we have a change in elevation there. Again, it would look at fencing and or walls just to make sure people aren't falling down that hillside there as we move through that. The 4 is, again, a kind of open lawn space. It can be used for those performance pavilions. It could be used for the craft fair. It could be used for all the other events that you guys have. It's a flex space that's off of the street then too. And then 5 and 6, the idea here is you can see that private infill. So that's the idea of it's ideally some sort of restaurant on the bottom. It could be lofts on top, would be a great use for that. It could have some rooftop activity too, that would be great. But we want that to interact with the park. We don't want it to just be a neighbor. So the idea with 5 and 6, 5 is really that outdoor dining area that becomes kind of that fuzzy edge, right? It could be used, obviously, definitely by if we get a restaurant there, that would be phenomenal. That can be their outdoor dining area. But it can also kind of spill into the sidewalk a little bit and interact with the site. 6 is the idea of integrating some public restrooms into that structure. So they wouldn't be internally accessed. If you think about it, it's just from the outside, you'd have men's and women or 2 unisex bathrooms or something of that nature that are completely separate from an access standpoint from the building, but they're just integrated into that structure. We talked with Jill that, again, as you guys go through an RFP process, that's a request, right? From that development, that would be great. And then 7 is that, again, kind of called it a promenade, fancy word for a fancy sidewalk. Again, letting the site kind of start to mingle with the activity that might happen on that private infill site. So there's a quick rendering of what that could be. You can kind of see the site elements renumbered there. To the right side, that's where, again, it can be that mix of uses, and it brings that activity there as well. Thinking that infill could be 2 to 3 stories to get we want it to look like your downtown, kind of great buildings. The next slide has, again, an idea. It doesn't mean that this would be the exact architectural style, but it's the idea of putting something that is, it's nice. It makes a statement for Charlestown. It kind of defines who you guys are as that starts to move forward, but it can handle all your performances and everything. And then the back side of that is where that storage would be, and kind of your IT hub, for Christmas in Charlestown as well. So the second zone is the square. The big things here, 8 was a good topic of discussion. It's restoring the gazebo. So right now, there's portions of that, or some of the materials are maybe rotting or need to be replaced. Hanging the panels on it is, I know I've heard a big struggle during Christmas in the park, or not struggle. It's a lot of work to get those up, so we could do something that's a little bit easier to do. Also, it's not ADA accessible, so maybe if we can lower that, but restore it, keep that same visual, but let's restore it to something that's going to be a durable material for kind of future generations, but keep that landmark within the community, the same kind of aesthetic look and everything. 9 is keeping your kind of clover sidewalk that you guys have recently done, but adding some enhancements to that. So we could look at like a crushed aggregate surface. That's again, it's ADA accessible still, but it's not necessarily concrete. You could do some dining out there, or picnic tables, addition out there. And then again, just kind of activating that space a little bit more. The number 10s, kind of all around the square, we could do some streetscape enhancements. So again, improving any of the sidewalks that need improvements, but also the lighting, plantings, and those sort of things. And then the number 11s, you'll see them on, we're Short Street, both ends of Short Street there. That's the idea, we have a rendering here in a second, of we have some enhanced crosswalks that are well marked, right? So people obviously are aware someone might be there, but then kind of a removable barricades that allow you to easily, Public Works can come out there, they can easily close the street off for events, and you don't have to have those temporary barricades. And then 12 is just enhanced crosswalks around the square, making sure those are a little bit more defined. There's a variety of options on that we could start to look at as if you guys went into design. So this is the idea of, again, same type of gazebo. You see it's lower though. We have the same color, same shape, probably a little bit more durable materials sometimes. Sometimes the wood is not going to last us quite as long. So same idea, you got the standing seam roof and that sort of thing. You can see that number 9 around your existing clovers kind of sidewalk would be some of those activation areas there. And then the next one shows the idea of, again, the design details can kind of be figured out if you move forward with some of these, but it's the idea of, it's a barricade structure that looks nice. It gives your image of wherever you want to be in Charlestown, but it allows for us to easily close that street down without, temporary barricades or something of that nature. You kind of see some enhanced sidewalks and stuff around there as well. And that last zone, we call it the terrace. So you've got the idea of 13 is retaining wall and sign. We'll show you that in here in just a second. It's the idea that that's the big visible thing from Market. So we want to make sure, it says you're in Charlestown. 14 is along the north edge. We'll zoom into that here in a minute too, is the idea of enhancing that sidewalk there and adding some on-street parking while we're doing it. 15 is in the top right corner. That's the idea that there is a big grade change. So this would be kind of a switchback ramp to get ADA accessibility up there. That's probably one of the further out items that you would do, but I think talking with the group we were meeting with, it was still something we wanted to include in the long-term plan for it. And then 16, your current stairs are a little narrow. I know they've done some improvements, but maybe we expand those and we have a kind of rendering of that here in a second. So the next one shows, that's the corner of Market and Water. So you're kind of looking into what would be the old building now, but getting some sort of retaining wall there so that we don't have quite as much of a grade change. You could put whatever branding you would want onto that, but it provides a good visual from the street. And then the next one, we did some quick cross sections because you do have so much grade change there. So if you look at B, you're looking at Water Street to Short Street. So we're kind of crossing the site there. You again can see just that grade change as you need to kind of step up to the site. And then C is looking from Market, no, you're good, from Market the other way, so it's the slope down to Market Street, if that makes sense. You can go to that one then, you're good. And these would just be some quick renderings of some enhanced stairs. Again, there's lots of levels of what you could do on design. But the idea we do maybe widen those and we make those a little bit more formal. And then 15 on the right-hand side, that was your switchback ramp to make sure that we can get some ADA accessibility as a longer-term idea. So we did some budget level, or planning level budgets on this as well. Again, trying to say, okay, you could break these out into some different phases. As you all know, at this phase, the budgets really depend on a lot of things. Are we doing stamped concrete or stamped asphalt for crosswalks, or are we doing pavers, right? There's a lot of different options that will kind of influence your budget, but that's what we kind of talk about, like it's for our budgetary, ideas here, not a bid or anything like that. So when you start to look at some of those, it really totals in that mid 6 million, 6.6, in terms of all of those various site elements. I mean, a couple things we talked about too is the idea we kept asphalt on Short Street, right? I think the mayor said, if someone wanted to give us a couple $1 million, let's do pavers, but like we need to kind of balance some of those things, right? We need to balance our priorities, right? If a couple million just fell in your lap, of course you do pavers, but we need to balance some of the realistically budget constraints. We can't just plan for the biggest and best thing ever, but we want to make sure that it is a quality project, it's a legacy project, and it was really iconic for Charlestown in particular, and it really functions for all your events as well. So we also had a booklet. If we need to flip through it, we can, but I just thought that might be a little bit easier to run through that because you can kind of blow things up a little bit more and stuff. So, are there any questions or thoughts? Or?
Just as a reminder too, John and Chuck were part of those initial meetings from the commission.
We come to the first meeting, it was, here's our ideas, and then come back to the second one, and I mean, there was talks between everybody and a lot of different, this is the first time I've seen it since we talked. And that was that's the rendition that kind of where everybody was leading, an area that you can use pretty much for anything. And especially with the brain and the Christmas lights and all that, it all come together pretty well. I mean, it was a pleasure working with you all and sitting in on stuff like that. Couple things come up and they worked themselves out, so it was just great to work with them.
Yeah, the storage for the Christmas was a big one. Obviously having some sort of pavilion event space was a big one.
And I mean,
restoring the gazebo, repeating it.
The setting area Brian's been working on that he was going to present, and he emailed us about. They took that concept into that, and I mean it all come right together. So it was fun to work with them and look at all that.
Yeah, the placemaking is still, if you look at the overall site plan, it's in that bottom corner still where they had it. So
I think the design is very, very neat. Look forward to seeing it develop.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great project, and again, a phased project. Pick out your kind of biggest elements first that you would want to get done.
And I'll be glad to send out that version that she presented to you all too. I'll email that to you so you have that smaller, but you do have the full version of the draft that was presented to you.
Yes, sometimes like if you put a document up there, it's harder to see, so I just cropped pages for you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to public comment. Is there anyone signed up for public comment? No one for public comment. Moving on to the consultant report. We got the Wheatley Group.
Thank you. The report was sent out in your meeting packet. I have a couple of things to highlight and maybe some things to add. One of the things to add is something that Chuck just brought up, in that the city is still working, and Brian Smith is leading the charge on the patronicity campaign for the funding of the parklet that was discussed. So I think that ends later this month. And there have been about halfway to the goal there. So I think what Brian was looking for is just us to push that information out to everyone and make sure that everyone knows that we still need some more money, the city still needs some more money to be able to reach that $50,000 goal. And on that website, there are various levels that people, suggested levels that people can donate to help meet that $50,000 goal. But that was very much in the forefront or there in that plan that was just showed as well. So it does work in with that. We we continue to get various ideas and from people that would like to do residential development, commercial development. There's one in particular that I mentioned when I sent the packet out that I'd like to schedule an executive session to talk about some incentives that have been requested for south of Highway 62. So I don't know if you all have had a chance to kind of look at your calendars. If we could do it sometime this month, that would be great. If we need to wait and do it in conjunction with the February meeting, we can do that too. But I'd like to be able to get something set up for an executive session there. The developers are willing to come to the executive session and explain what they have if they want to do.
I'm good anytime.
Okay.
I think we moved our council meeting to the 14th. So our council meeting's the 14th now.
Okay.
We've got Monday has planning and zoning, board zoning.
Right.
That's next Monday, that's that?
13th.
Okay, 13th.
Pretty flexible.
Okay.
For me, the only, excuse me, the only day I can't do is the 14th.
Oh, that you can't?
Yeah, and any other evening.
Okay.
I'm pretty flexible too.
All right, and I'll check with John and I'll send something out. We'll try to get it set up sooner rather than later. So it may not be next week, but I'll see what he's got available. I know he's out of town for work right now, so hopefully he'll be back soon. Okay, thank you.
We do that around 6?
Whatever time you all want.
I'd like around 6, give everybody time to
That's
Okay.
get off work and everything.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you. Shadow Lake Development, you can see that things are still going out there. Their industrial development, maybe not right now, but it has been going. We also continue to work towards some plan regarding the installation of lighting along the public streets. So I've been working with Frost Brown Todd to put some things together, and hopefully we'll have something in the next couple of weeks that we can send out then to Board of Works and other entities within the city that would need to be involved. Also from United Consulting, that you entered into an agreement for them to do some design work on the section, on the roundabout there at would be the new intersection of Christianity Parkway and High Jackson. They are starting their surveying work, so that's begun also. We also have had a couple of inquiries about facade improvements. Still, to my knowledge, no actual applications, but some inquiries about that, so that's good. And then we'll start working on the annual report that's due to the Department of Local Government Finance on or before April 15th. We work on that in conjunction with the Clerk Treasurer's Office, and then we generally present that to the public sometime in June. We received, or the commission received, a little bit over $2.1 million in TIF revenue in '24, which is what we had assumed. So hopefully in '25, pay '26. So next year, the Christianity, some of the development in Shadow Lake will come online. So hope to realize some of the revenue from that too. It just takes time, to get that to roll on. So if you all have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jill.
Jill. Next up, old business, we have the notice to proceed for the Short Street demolition project.
you had given Commission President authorization to sign that agreement once it was blessed by Frost Brown Todd. Derek was able to do that right before Christmas. So the next thing is the notice to proceed. And so I have that. If you would authorize the Commission President to sign the notice to proceed, then we can.
You need a motion and a second?
Yes, please.
I make a motion that President Derrick can sign the notice to proceed whenever it's ready to go. What you need?
Motion by Chuck and second by Bobby. Any further discussion? Ask for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And we have a pre-construction conference scheduled on Thursday for that project, so the contractor's ready to go when we're ready to go, so the notice to proceed will allow them to get their permit. There's a 10-day notification process with IDEM that they have to get through, but then Thursday at 11, we're having a pre-construction conference, so we'll, once that gets started, it shouldn't take very long to get that down, so.
Is there still furniture inside, or we're just gonna demo it all out?
I do not know if there's still furniture inside. The city has, we'll go over that more on Thursday to make sure. I know that the city wants to remove flagpole and some of the brick pavers. There's some memorial pavers there that they want to remove, and anything else that they need to take out of that. Otherwise, it's, you know, what's there when they start is theirs to remove.
All right.
Which includes, I think, that the wooden fence along the side. When Amy was presenting about needing to have something there, then right now it's just that split rail fence or whatever. So all of that will, the only thing that it's my understanding that will stay are the mature trees on the backside of the building between Water Street and the building. There's some mature trees there. And then there's some brush around that chain link fence. That'll go, but the trees will stay. And if we need those trees to be moved in conjunction with whatever the city decides to do there, or in relation to that plan, then we can take them out. And then we can start talking about also an RFP for that public-private infill that was discussed in the presentation too.
It's nice to have a presentation this early, because whenever they start tearing that down, a lot of questions are coming. So,
Well,
I mean, making that public, everybody seeing it online, it's kind of shows that we're going in the right direction, but a lot of questions are coming quick.
it'll be a big deal once you start tearing that down. It'll look a lot different.
It'll look a lot better. That's the
I
word.
didn't want to say that. It'll look different.
I'll say it. It'll look a lot better. 20 years of that, so I'm ready.
So we approved the notice to proceed, right?
Yes.
All right. Moving on to new business, we have the Wheeling Group 2025 agreement.
This is an agreement for us to assist you with any redevelopment business meetings, meeting minutes, the same agreement that we were under last year for the same price as well. We did not increase the price or change the terms at all.
I'll make a motion to approve the Wheeler Group agreement.
I'll second that.
Motion by Chuck and second by Benita. Any further discussion? It's for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have the HWC 2025 on-call agreement. Welcome.
Hi.
Good
Happy
evening.
New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
In front of you have an on-call agreement for our services for $50,000. We had the same agreement with you last year, and we billed $10,284 to that agreement last year. We can do anything you ask us to under this agreement, and you're not billed for the work unless you ask us to do it.
And how we handled that last year is that we would direct them, we asked them to do something related to a project. It would either be under the on-call, or we would ask them to submit a separate proposal, depending on how large that was. I think we used the on-call for some survey work related to Short Street last year.
Okay. That's for a motion to approve.
I make the motion.
Motion by Bobby,
I'll
second by Benita. Any further discussion? Call for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thanks, Sal.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Sally. Next up, the 501 Market Street demolition engineering proposal.
I had asked American Structure Point if you, was the engineer that helped us with the Short Street demolition specs. Those of you who may have forgotten, at the end of April, the H&R Block building, which the commission owns, the lease will be up at the end of April, and so the intent is to demo that building. And so I asked them to provide us with a proposal to help us, the same services that they did with Short Street, which they provided, in the amount of $27,810. So I would ask that you would approve this proposal. It's been reviewed by Frost Brown Todd and kind of gone back and
Is
forth.
that
with
just a
the language.
proposal to remove the building
Mhm.
only? Is that parking lot or anything?
This is the proposal for them to do the specs for that.
Oh, okay.
We do need to address what we want to do with that and how that gets done, how we need to do the parking lot. So
This is just for them to get it all together?
This is just for them to do the specifications and help us with that work related to the demo.
Okay.
And then we need to figure out, which we haven't really discussed how we want to do the parking lot,
Right.
whether that's something that we want city to do, if we want to hire somebody to do that. So that would be our next step too, is to try to get that in line for when we get that building down,
All right.
then we can be ready to move on that too. Or at least that's my plan.
Once we demo it, what's the plan to redo that area? I don't know, parking.
We had talked about just putting a parking lot there, and so, one thing that we haven't discussed, but we can between now and May, I don't think we'll do anything related to demoing that until they're completely gone. I don't think anyone wants to disturb them as far as even getting hazardous materials testing or any of that. Just leave that be until they're out and the lease is up. But between now and then, figure out, then start looking at what we want to see as far as parking lot goes. What other amenities that we need to be there, which we haven't talked about yet, but we need to.
Okay.
So I can come up with a plan for that for you, by the next meeting.
All right. Sounds good, Joe.
Make a motion to approve the engineering proposal for 501 Market.
We have a motion by Chuck. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Bobby. Any further discussion? Call for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And the last item on the agenda is the 2025 meeting schedule.
And we set that at your last meeting in December. I provided you a copy after that and again today. One thing that we may, and we can just address this when it comes, but I may not be able to be at the May meeting. And I realized that after I had even sent out that agenda. It all depends on, I may have to be out of town. I hope I'm gonna be out of town. That would be when my son's graduating from college, knock on wood, I hope he is. So, anyway, we may need to change that around. You can obviously have a meeting without me too. So, just wanted to put that out there, and I hope we need to change it. But if I change it now, then I won't need it to be changed, so I'd rather do it later. Okay, so Amy says she's going to, so.
We'll just wait.
She just wants to go to Colorado.
We ain't having that meeting without you.
So I just wanted to, I'm sorry I didn't think about that before, but that was all. I think all the rest of the dates are just fine
Okay.
for now.
Thank you. If there is no further discussion, ask for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Motion to adjourn. We have a motion.
Second.
Second by Bobby. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 If you all would.